beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the Get Older Podcast. It's a podcast where we talk about mental health, the trials and tribulations of trauma, but also the art of healing. My name is Ivory. I'm your host, and I'm ready to dive into today's episode. Today, I'm joined by someone who's been a part of my life for over half of it. We met as kids, two middle schoolers in a performing arts program, never imagining the twists and turns life would throw our way. From the bright lights of the stage to a career that's taken her from New York to Miami, she's done it all. She's hosted her own radio show in college, pursued acting, and led marketing departments for some of the biggest agencies in Miami and New York, helping scale some of your favorite DTC brands to millions. And now she's building her own empire with Scale with Key, a consultant helping ambitious founders grow their business with clarity, confidence, and strategy. That's my girl, you know what I'm saying? I'm so excited to not just talk about the accomplishment, but also the journey, the laughs, the challenges, and the lessons we both learned along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to introduce to you Keyshawna Johnson.
Hey guys, how are you, Ivory?
Hey girl, how you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, because let me tell you, I know you are busy, and I know you had a long week and a long night.
Yes, a very long night.
And I remember just like trying to coordinate with you, like, oh, what should we do and stuff like that. And he was like, Ivory, I got A, B, and C going on. I'm like, we can make it work. And you made it work.
But I'm here. That's all that matters. I made it.
I'm so happy. But first of all, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, like who you are and what you do and everything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Keyshawna, like Ivory said, originally from New Jersey, but I've been back and forth between Miami, New York. I'm a marketing consultant, like Ivory said, into retention marketing. So that's all things email, SMS, push, as well as influencer marketing, as well as just overall helping people grow their businesses. I've had a lot of different businesses throughout my life, from real estate to event planning and decorating. And now I'm really honing in on my marketing side. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Clock it. So it's so funny because I realized like this morning I was thinking about like our questions and stuff like that for today. And I realized like, wow, like I've known you since you were 11 and a half, turning 12 in middle school. Mm-hmm. And now next week you're turning 28.
Yeah. Whew.
That's a long ass time.
That is.
I'm just saying like, so take it back from me. You're growing up. Like, where were you born? Where exactly were you born, really? And, like, how did you become?
So I was originally born in Plainfield, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. My mom is from Trinidad and Tobago. My dad is from America. And growing up, you know, I was in a two-parent household for the beginning, most of it. My parents were very supportive. They had a strong emphasis on education. And I feel like throughout my life, that definitely is what drove me to be a successful person, because they really instilled in me education is important. You need to get your education, and not necessarily a specific path. You know, it's not like they were like, oh, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer, but they just made it clear to me that, you know, education is really the way to success. And I feel like that helped me make a lot of decisions in my life, even from young. So I went to a performing arts school with you, ended up going to Rutgers University, and then from there tried, you know, my hand at a lot of different things to just see what I was really passionate about.
Do you remember the first time we met at the performing arts school?
If I could remember the specific time we met, honestly, no.
That's what I was saying to
my memory is gone.
No, but I always remember everything. So I was really trying to think to myself, like, yo, like, when was the first time you and I really met? 'Cause I know we was in the same theater class our seventh grade year, but I was like, I can't remember a time when we became friends.
Yeah. Honestly, we were just always around each other, and I feel like we had a lot of classes together, and that's how we really became close. But what I do remember, Ivory, specifically about you growing up, 7th grade, you were literally the first person in the entire school to have an iPhone. And that's when iPhones first dropped.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Yes, you and your sister. You guys were the first people. I think you guys had it before the teachers, too. I was
No,
like,
we did not. No, we did not. No, we did not.
You guys had the iPhone when it first came out.
It was like
When there was only Androids and all those, it wasn't even called Androids back then. They were just called phones. But when the iPhone came out, I specifically remember you and your sister had it first before everybody. And I remember they were like, oh my gosh, they have an iPhone. Because, you know, before iPods is what was popular back then. But I do remember that about you.
I mean, good grades and hard work. That's what happened.
Yeah, and y'all were spoiled.
Can you not say that? You're gonna give my mom another reason. Okay, anyways.
Yeah, we're spoiled.
All right, so I have a question. Do you have any like favorite memories of like that time of your life when you started school?
Favorite memories? Honestly, I would just say being in school with like you guys, my friends, it was always a good time. I just feel like our friend group, there was never really drama in our friend group. So we just always had a good time together. I feel like there's a million things I could bring up, but I don't have one special or specific one. Just you guys, anytime I'm with you guys, it was a good time.
But looking back, what did the performing arts environment teach you about yourself?
I would say it taught me discipline for sure, because my instructor, Othel Miller, shout out to him. He did not play with us at all. He did not play with us. And I feel like that carried over into other areas of our lives outside of theater. You know, I feel like when people think of theater, it's like, oh, it's just this fun thing. Like, oh, you get to like pretend or just fake through things and just have fun. But there's really like a discipline behind it and, you know, strategies behind it. And Othel, you know, he took it very seriously. And he made sure, even though we were children, if you're going to pursue this or even if you're going to study it, we're going to show you what it's really like. Because he went to a lot of different conservatories that are respected across the country. So he brought those same teachings to us. And I just learned, like I said, discipline, to take something serious. And if you say you're going to do something, really do it and put your all behind it too.
Basically. But also, like, did you ever think you'll end up in marketing and not a full-time performer?
If you asked me that when I was in school, I would say no, not at all. Because theater was my passion. You know, like I grew up from the time I was about 8 years old to 18, I would say even maybe 20 years old, 21, I thought I was going to be an actress. You know, that's what I wanted to do. When I was applying to colleges, that's all I applied for were conservatories. And I didn't apply for like, you know, the schools around the corner. I'm applying to Juilliard, Tisch. I'm applying to like the big boys because that was what my passion was. So no, I never thought I would really go into marketing, but I would say once I got to college, that's when my horizons kind of opened up and I was able to experience and see a lot of other different avenues I can take my life. That's when I started to think, okay, maybe there is more than just theater. So...
But I mean, I get that because a lot of times, like I do, like, you know, TV production and photography, and that's always going to be something that I do. But recently, my main focus has been with teaching and other things that I'm doing right now. But I was just wondering because sometimes, like, when you have a dream for so long, because one, you're an amazing actress.
Thank you.
I was able to be at least 2 productions that you were in school, and to see, like, again, the discipline and the hard work that you put into it. I love that. But is there like still like a part of you that really wishes that you could still pursue it full time still, or?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'll say that. Okay. I'm not opposed to going back into acting, but I think when I would say the turning point specifically for my journey to something else happened when I was applying to those conservatories. I didn't get into any, right? And remember, I said I applied to the most competitive ones where there's like tens of thousands of kids applying. So when I didn't get into any of the schools that I felt were the perfect path toward a professional acting career, I feel like that kind of discouraged me. But still, when I did go to Rutgers, theater was one of my majors. So I still was in a lot of theater classes and things of that nature. But like I said, my horizons were opened up to different avenues like advertising, marketing, all of those things, because I just so happened to pick a secondary major in journalism media studies. So now I'm taking all these classes about media and learning about communications and things like that. And then also too, so I was really close with the head of the theater department at the time, Marshall Jones, and he was actually a good friend of mine's father too. So he gave me a lot of opportunities in the theater space in New Jersey. Like he ran Crossroads Theater Company that was in New Brunswick, and he gave me a lot of internships there. He had an acting camp at Rutgers, so he, you know, gave me an opportunity to intern there as well. And I just remember my senior year specifically, we had a very serious conversation, and he just let me know, I'm glad that this is your passion. You want to be in theater, you want to be an actress. But he was like, it's going to take sacrifice. And for me, I'm hearing that all my life. So I'm like, yeah, I know sacrifice.
You're used to that though.
Yeah. But then he's like, you're going to have to be comfortable with being without. And what he meant was really like financially, he let me know it's all glitz and glam, but that's really the 1%, right? Most people who do pursue this career, they are struggling, You have to be okay with, working 3-4 little jobs and still going to auditions at night and being, off Broadway, not getting the recognition. And really, the recognition wasn't that big of a determining factor for me, but what was a determining factor was kind of like the financial part of it, because that was the first time someone ever had that candid conversation with me about, you're going to be broke. Like, honestly, that's basically what he was telling me. Like, you have to be okay with being broke. And that didn't sit right with me. That didn't sit right with me because my whole life, I worked hard and my parents told me, if you work hard, you can get the things you want, So for me, applying to those schools, working hard, not getting in, that kind of like went against everything my parents ever told me. So I'm already kind of living this life where things aren't going exactly where I want them to go, but I'm still working toward it the best way I can, like I said, because I still took theater as my major. But I just wasn't okay with living a life less than what I felt like I deserved too. Growing up, my parents never really told me no, but we were far from rich too. My dad always worked 2 jobs. My mom always had a job, but they worked. They were working people.
Yeah.
So I just know the sacrifices they made for me and my siblings, and knowing that, okay, they made all these sacrifices for me to be a waiter at 6 different restaurants throughout the week, struggling. That didn't sit right with me personally, because I felt like the sacrifices my parents made and my family made for me, I have to give that back one day. I do. And even though I did want to chase a dream of being an actress, I felt like the chances of me being able to repay them what they gave me with that career was looking kind of slim. And I feel like, the conversation that Marshall had with me, I really appreciate it because no one else ever had that conversation with me before. So that really opened my eyes and made me be like, okay, maybe I need to do something else.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I do love theater. I love acting, but I want to live a comfortable life. I do. I want to be comfortable. So,
I agree with that. What I would say though is that like, I'm glad that someone said that to you about the realistics of like, this is what's happening. Like me, like I went to LA and I jumped in the fire of that. Yes, I did have a good like job working and doing production, stuff like that. But yeah, I was like working different jobs and stuff like that to make ends meet because it is expensive. And you do feel like I'm not making it enough, I'm not doing enough. But I would say is that with most people in a sense like that, I get it. Like it takes time and years to get to where you want for yourself, but it will be worth it at the end. Is what I want to say, because there's a lot of people I know that do struggle, that do grind and stuff like that. And yeah, again, like it's going to take some time, but I'm pretty sure like if you were to be on that path, because I know who you are and the type of person that you are, you would definitely make it and you would definitely repay your family in millions and folds back, no matter what. Because again, it's the sacrifice. And again, I'm still sacrificing a lot of things and a lot of different jobs that I'm trying to do as well right now. But I always say, like, even if that's still your dream, never give up on your dream on that. Because, again, it's like you have such a gift and talent that it shouldn't be waste because you're a storyteller. And I think that you should be able to just show people that. And that's why I want you to remember that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, but for sure, I'm not saying that, people who do pursue the arts are always going to kind of be in that struggle. But like you said, it is a sacrifice. And sometimes it is a waiting game. You can be in that situation for 5, 10, even 15 years. And then one day you really hit that major break. Like, look at Tyler Perry, look at Tyler Perry. And then I want to say Oprah too. There are a lot of people who got that success later on in life, and they were willing to stick it out. Your girl was not willing.
But that's but that's your journey, so, and that's okay. But I'm just saying, if you were to ever, again, I feel like you have a long lifespan ahead of you. So if you ever was to, just know that like
the opportunity is still there.
It will always be there for
sure.
You,
Yeah.
But speaking of opportunities, since you have been in college and everything, first, what college did you go to?
Rutgers University. Ooh. The Rutgers University.
Are you?
Yeah, the real RU.
New Brunswick. Let me tell you, when I remember like going to your campus a couple of times, I remember like even Halloween times. Mm-hmm. Your campus is so big, girl. Like I always get lost. Like when you think you have to take like, a whole trolley, you think I'm in damn Florida. Like I'm just saying, like you really like going around different like golf courses. We literally
had to take buses to class. It was crazy. I think when I went to Rutgers, the population of Rutgers alone was like 50,000. 50,000 people went to my school. New Brunswick. I'm not even talking about Newark and Trenton.
2015, right?
Yeah. It was like 50,000, I want to say. Just at New Brunswick. Mm-hmm.
Is there like a moment you think about college that instantly makes you smile?
For sure. Times with my friends. I mean, I had really great friends in college, and I'm thankful for them. Like, they're my friends to this day.
Ditto,
you know? We're close friends, and just being with my friends, my roommates. Thankfully, I had great roommate experiences. I don't have any like horror stories with that. So
must be nice.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, just think about time with my friends. At the time I was an RA too. So we used to have a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not gonna say horrible RAs, but we just didn't really set the best example for the kids.
Why is that every RA I know says that though? But we
had fun. That's what matters. We had a blast. So yeah, I just think about the times at school with my friends. That always makes me smile. I can't believe it's been like, how long since I graduated? 6 years?
About 6 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But 10 years ago that you went to college, though.
Yeah, 10 years ago I started college. Oh, wow.
You getting older.
I'm getting older. I am. That is actually kind of wild.
But also right now, this is also giving me a deja vu moment because 9 years ago, I was on your radio show.
Yes, you were.
Just like in this type of setting. Mm-hmm. So like, can you tell me like, what was your show name again?
Brown Sugar Radio with Key.
You know what I'm saying? So like, again, like host, acting. Listen, guys, I'm gonna need you to spam the comments of like trying to get her to revive her acting career. That's just me. But anyways, like I was saying, please bring it back. But like, tell me about that experience of your life. Because I remember, I was also trying to find the pictures, but it's on my old computer because we took pictures. But like, tell me about that experience about hosting your own radio show. Because again, you have the personality and the voice of the people for it. So explain to me about that time.
So my radio show came about during a time, again, like I said, in college, I was exploring a lot of different avenues. I was being introduced to all of these different things outside of theater. And I was in the Sky School at Rutgers, so that's School of Communications and Information. And I remember they were just posting about, you know, like a radio station that we had on campus that actually broadcasted to real radios. It wasn't just online. So you could hear it in your car. You could hear it anywhere you have access to a radio. And I just thought, you know, that'll be kind of dope because like I said, my secondary my secondary major was journalism. Yeah. But I didn't necessarily want to be a writer. Even though I did like to write, I didn't want to be a reporter. You know, I was more interested in the media aspect of it. So radio show. I saw myself at the time maybe like working red carpets, interviewing people. So I thought a radio show would be a great segue into that type of career. But so then they basically had an open call for if you want a radio show. I went, they made me shadow somebody's show. And of course the person whose show I shadowed was at like midnight. His show was from like midnight to 2 a.m. I used to be so tired going there, but you had to shadow a show if you wanted a show. Yeah. So I used to go midnight, yawning, trying not to make noise in the back, but he really showed me the ropes. I can't even remember the boy's name, but he was really dope. He showed me the ropes. I took the test because we had to take a test. Okay. And I got the show. And then from there, I just tried to think about, you know, what would I want to listen to? What are the things that I would want to make me tune into somebody's show, right? So then that's how I created Tea with Key. So that was like my segment, just giving people updates about what was going on, you know, little things in pop culture. And then for the main topics, again, I just really tried to think of things that were relevant that I was passionate about too, because my show was 2 hours. So it's like, what can I sit here and talk about for an hour and a half? Right. Right. So I picked a lot of different topics that I felt like were relevant to my audience and my friends. Things that people would actually want to tune in and listen to. And that's how I developed it. And I had a lot of people on my show. You were one. I remember I started Freestyle Fridays. I used to have people come on there rapping. That was crazy. I wish we could put a clip in here.
If you have it, let me know.
It's probably on YouTube, but when I say hilarious, Freestyle Friday was a time. But I had all types of people with all different types of career come on my show, and I felt like it really opened me up. It broadened my horizons even more to the things that people are doing in this life, you know?
And how long have you did that show for?
I want to say I started in my junior year or my sophomore year.
No, your sophomore year. It was your sophomore year.
So if it was my
I came on my sophomore year. That's
okay.
Why.
So yeah, my sophomore year, then 3 years. I did it my sophomore, junior, and senior year. Yeah.
So you've been on stage in many ways when it came to acting, hosting. What did being on teach you about connecting with people?
What it taught me about connecting with people is you have to listen. You really have to listen to people and really take in what it is they're telling you, right? Because I feel like a lot of times when you're acting, people who have no acting training just think, oh, I'm just going to memorize these lines. I'm just going to say them, right?
Right.
But when you're actually in like an acting program, they really teach you to take in the person you're with, right? Really listen to what they're saying to you, because not only are the words that are coming out their mouth, you know, what they're saying, but, you know, you got to take in their body language, the subtext and what they're saying. And I feel like that applied to everything. That didn't only apply to acting like with me and a scene partner, but that applied to, you know, my radio show, because if I'm interviewing somebody, I have to make sure I'm listening to what they're saying. And if they mention something that was kind of off script but piqued my interest, follow up and ask them about that too, you know? And then that also relates to just real life, because I feel like a lot of times people have conversations, or when they're talking to people, they're not really looking to really listen to the person they're talking to. They're listening. They're really just responding, right? Especially like in relationships too, in arguments, like, you know, you're just going back and forth with the person, but you're not really taking in what it is they're saying to you, you know? So I feel like acting and just being on stage taught me to take in people and really try to understand what they're saying, because sometimes, or most times, their words aren't what they're really saying. You have to look deeper into what they're saying.
Do you consider yourself an empath?
For sure.
I can see that.
I do.
And I have a question, like with all going off script now. Do you consider do you love deeply?
I do.
I have a question. Do you think that's a blessing or a curse?
It's both. It's both in the sense that my love knows no boundaries, right? And what I mean by that is, because I love deeply, if you have my love, I will really do any and everything for you. And sometimes, you know, in life, and with, I feel like most people do this, sometimes we don't give our love to the best people. Yeah. And I don't even mean just romantically. Friendships, family, anybody who you pour yourself into who doesn't pour back into you is nothing but a toxic and, you know, negative situation. So that's why I said it can be a curse, but at the same time, it is a blessing, because, you know, love is lovely. It is. Love is love. It feels good to love people, you know? And again, I don't just mean romantically, like friends, like when you have true, genuine friends that you really love, that's a good feeling, you know, to be around people that you love and who love you back. So that's why I say it's a blessing and a curse, because love is lovely. I love love.
Me too. No, I was asking that because I just realized that, because I actually asked ChatGPT, like, what's my curse and stuff like that. And that was the thing, like, you love deeply. And I see that for you as a person of interest who, again, acting, hosting, and of course, like into your fields and stuff like that. I was just wondering, like, how do you concept that to be? Because I started really like struggling with that more recently, of just like, like, why do I feel like this towards these people and stuff like that? But again, it is a blessing. It is good to be intuitive with your feelings towards people and stuff like that. So for me, like, I love to show like words of affirmation. I love to show like physical, as in like my parents are being there for you and stuff like that. So I was just wondering because that's always been my mind lately.
Yeah, for sure. It is a blessing and a curse, but when it's reciprocated and it's healthy, it's like one of the best. I think, you know what they say, love is a drug, like the strongest stuff ever. And it really is. Love is really a drug.
It is. But speaking of drugs, how's Miami? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's crazy. Miami is good. I don't do no drugs.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
But they doing drugs down there for sure.
So it's so funny because I moved to Los Angeles in 2020. And then 2 years, as soon as I'm about to come back to the East Coast to come back to Jersey, you moved to Miami. So like, what sparked this interest of moving to Miami for you?
Honestly, from the first time I visited Miami, I called it my home, literally. And the first time I went to Miami in my life, I want to say was like 2017, 2018. And I literally just fell in love with it. I loved it so much. The energy, the weather, the vibes. I just love Miami. I just loved it. And it's crazy. I have to go back into my Snapchat memories, but I literally have like old Snapchats of me like recording when I touched down. I'm like, oh, I'm back home. I made it home, home again. So I think I always manifested it for myself. And then what year was it? 2020? No, 2022?
2022.
Yeah, 2022 at my job at the agency, the owners actually moved down to Miami and they were like, and at the time I had just became a manager too. And they were like, come down. It wasn't like a mandatory thing, but you don't really have to pull my leg to come to Miami. Like it's not going to be much of a force, you know? So I was like,
I mean, yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. What you mean, Miami? So yeah, that's what really brought me down. And from there, I just continued to fall in love with the city. And I feel like when I moved down there, I learned more about the city too. I discovered way more because as a tourist, you know, we go to Miami, it's South Beach, it's Brickell, like those are the places you're going. But when I actually moved to Miami, I discovered all parts of Miami. Little Haiti, North Miami, even Fort Lauderdale, like the whole Broward area, Miami. The Miami-Dade, Broward area is huge and there's so much there and there's something for everybody. It's not just all party. I feel like that's what everyone like kind of...
That's my assumption of... I've never been to Miami yet, but I'm just saying that's what's
really?
been my... No.
What?
I know.
Oh, no. I got to bring you down.
I know. I've always been to like, Kissing Me, Orlando and stuff like that, and Jacksonville, but I've never still have yet been to Miami.
That's crazy, Ivory.
I know.
No, we're going to get you down there. Don't worry. The next episode going to be on the beach.
Coming soon.
In Miami.
But I was going to ask you too, like, what is like the culture shift from Jersey to Miami? Because I felt like when I moved to LA, like that whole culture shift and seeing, one, great weather all year round.
Yeah.
But also just like the people, like, and just the environment and the architect. Like, how was that for you in Miami?
It was a bit of a culture shock, kind of. But also Miami really reminded me of Trinidad in a lot of senses.
Okay.
Like the architecture of the houses, like the actual houses. I don't mean the skyscrapers in Brickell and South Beach, but the actual homes in Miami really reminded me of like Caribbean homes. They are built very similar, one story. They don't have a lot of 2-story houses in Miami. They're all really like 1 story. And I still don't know why. Maybe because of hurricanes or something, but they're 1 story. The palm trees, seeing the palm trees every day just makes me happy, honestly.
It does.
The palm trees, the people are very different too. I would say they're a lot friendlier in my opinion. Like, you know, in Jersey, you go about your day in public, you don't have to speak to anybody, right? And that's normal. In Miami, you go to the store, I feel like everybody I pass by is like, hey, how are you? Good morning. At first, I'm looking at them like, do I know them? Where I know her from? And then
people don't be talking to you.
Right.
When you be walking, if it's like New York or New Jersey, you walk, whatever. If someone bumps you, they don't say excuse me. They just
That's
be like
what
walking.
I'm saying. So it's like, I used to see people. I'm like, did I meet them before? And then I realized, oh no, that's just the culture. Like you see somebody, you speak. So I really like that. That culture was very friendly. In my opinion. And I see people online saying something different, but I don't know. To me, in my opinion, coming from up north to Miami, people were a lot friendlier, in my opinion.
And also, you also had your best friend Deja with you, too.
Yes.
Also, hey, Deja, girl, what's up?
Hey, Deja.
So I was going to ask you, like, because you guys, how long have you known Deja for?
I can't even put a timestamp on it.
What age?
4. I
Okay.
met Deja when I was 4 years old.
Okay, so you guys known each other for 24 years.
Damn.
So I was gonna say like, cause that's what I do like about you two in the sense is that cause you guys always known each other forever. So how was it moving with your best friend, your confidant, your secret keeper, your sister, all the above? How was that like to have as your girl there for you?
It was great, honestly. I feel like it made the transition a lot easier too, because I had my literal best friend with me. I didn't go down there by myself. If I went down there by myself, I know my experience would have been a lot different and maybe harder too. I wasn't that homesick, really. I expected to be more homesick, but I think because I had Deja, like we had each other, we're with each other literally all day, every day.
Right.
It was like home. So it was a good experience. It was, because we were there for each other. I wasn't alone, I can't imagine doing that for the first time alone. I probably wouldn't have had as much of a good time.
Yes, you would. I'm gonna say no, because I moved to LA alone. Even though I did move into like housing with people and stuff like that, a time was had.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like obviously you came there for your job and stuff like that. But I would say even though it's good to have your best friend, but I just want to let you know, like wherever you go, even in life now, like you're going to make the best of it no matter what, especially because of who you are. You have to remember that. You know that?
No, for sure. I mean, I'm not saying if I moved by myself, I wouldn't have had a good time, but I just think, like we were speaking about earlier, I love deeply and I really cherish the connections I have with people, especially my friends, right? So if I would have moved down there by myself without any friends, I feel like I would have been in search of people, like a community. You know what I'm saying? And at this age, at this grown age, making friends is not easy. I feel, especially me being in a new city, and it's a little different too because you're a man, right? And I'm a woman. So, I feel like men, it's a lot easier for you guys to make friends and just whatever, because that's a whole other conversation about male friendships. But females, you have to be a little careful because girls are a little snaky, Girls are weird. So you never know, making friends with these girls you don't know or just trying to get close to people in this new city, people's intentions. That's just how I felt about it. But I did make some good friends in Miami, though. I will say that. I'm not going to say I didn't make any friends, but I feel like having Deja kind of took the pressure off of me of feeling like, I have to build this community around me because I have my sister here with me.
And I was going to ask you too was, when you are in like these type of environments with new people and stuff like that, is there any more moments, even though you made a good connection with friends, like you just said, like times where you feel like slighted in these times? Because like when you're like going to these new cities and stuff like that, it's a lot of different things that arise. And I realized like, I guess like for the first time in my life when I moved to LA, like, you're not safe. Because I remember like, you hear about shootings and stuff like that or robberies in like New York, New Jersey. Yeah. Let's hope not. I've never not had any bad experiences like in New Jersey, New York way of anything like that. But when I was in LA or anything like that, I've been challenged the most when it came to people.
Really?
I've been robbed twice.
Really?
I've been punched in my face, respectfully so. My mouth is crazy at times. What? But like I'm just saying like in just different like scenarios of people. So I was gonna ask you like how was that in Miami? Because I can assume it's probably the same maybe in certain ways of people that you interact with.
Thankfully, I didn't get punched in my face.
I talk a lot. No, I'm gonna say I talk a lot.
So it was like someone you had an altercation with.
Yeah, I talk a lot. I'm not gonna hold you. Especially when I used to drink alcohol. So, you know what I'm saying? We don't drink no more.
Yeah. I feel like Miami is the type of city where people are looking to make friends a bit. I was, like I said, I felt like Miami was a lot friendlier than Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So I never personally had a situation where I'm out and me and a girl almost fought, or we even had an argument to say, because even though I'm friendly, I can read people's vibes really easily. Yeah. And I used to go out a lot by myself too. And if I'm like next to a girl at a bar and I start having a conversation with her and I see she's not really into it, I'm gonna leave her alone. You don't want to talk? No problem. Like, girl, I will turn to the side and just drink my drink. So thankfully, I haven't had any type of situation like that. But people do get robbed in Miami, but you gotta be smart about it because they will snatch your chain. And me, I'm not walking around Miami with any type of diamonds. Like the most you'll see me with is like my gold chain. So I never really put myself in a situation, knock on wood, for something like that to happen to me. But it does happen for sure. But I was always smart about it because I know, what they're like, the people who are looking for it, what they're looking for. So Yeah, the bust downs, I don't go out with them.
That part. We have to live and learn, you know what I'm saying? But I was gonna ask you too, because a lot of times, like even when I was looking at your Instagram, and again, social media is not real. We have to remind ourselves that. But do you get tired of the perceptions of when people see your Instagram stories of you always going out? Like for a while, I'm not gonna hold you. Like I know you, but I was like, damn, this girl got a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you were always out on the boats, you were out in the club or whatever. Not like I'm just being real.
Got a job. People ask me that.
No, I'm being real because sometimes, like I said, I know you, so I know like you work hard and stuff like that. But there's times like. Because I have a question, do you care about those perceptions and stuff like that? Or do people try to hit you up like for money or anything like that? Because they look at you like, oh, she got it all, this and that. Like, what's your take about that?
My take, I don't care what people think. Because I know as long as my bill's paid, who cares if I go out? That's how I feel. Like, I think it would be an issue if I'm always out or always on a yacht and then I'm on the side, I'm texting you like, Ivory, I can't pay my rent. Like, let me hold $2,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I feel like because I take care of my responsibilities first, I'm gonna have fun. I don't have any kids. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people do judge me in that way of, oh, you're always going out, you're always traveling, you're always this. But it's like I just want to enjoy my life. That's all.
There's no manual to life, and you should enjoy your life though.
And that's how I enjoy it. And everyone spends their money on different things. Some people take their money and buy just designer, you know? They don't go on any trips, but they're dripped down. They're going to have every bag, every shoe, you know? Some people eat their money, you know, spend it on going out to eat. Some people, you know, play video games. I feel like people spend their money where, you know, they want to. And I just choose to spend my money having fun. Period.
But when it comes to work, you play hard, but you also work hard.
Very much so. The work is always done first before I have any type of fun.
You led departments at some of the top marketing agencies in both Miami and New York. What was one of the biggest challenges stepping into those leadership roles?
I would say the biggest challenge I experienced was people respecting me. And I would say because I was young. I was like the youngest head of a department in the company ever. So, and I got to that role pretty quick because, you know, I had a really great mentor and I had a lot of clients that taught me things quick. You know, in an agency, especially in the marketing field, I feel like an agency is the best way to get a lot of experience in a short amount of time because you're working with a diverse portfolio of clients, right? And they all have different needs. So something new is always going to pop up as opposed to when you work just like, let's say for one brand for the first 5 years of your marketing career. They say like 1 year at an agency is equivalent to like 10 years at a brand, at one brand, because you learn so much. You have so many different clients. And like I said, different things happen. So I got a lot of experience quick and I was great at what I do. And not to toot my own horn, but I do feel like I'm pretty smart, you know, and I'm intelligent. I catch on quick to really anything I do. So when I really dove into it and I really set my mind to it and I used to study and really look up different, you know, marketing strategies. I read a lot of books. I really like immersed myself into it. I was a beast. I was. And I was able to climb the ladder really quick. I became the head of a department in like 3 years, 4 years. So not even, maybe 2 years. My memory's horrible. But it was quick. It was pretty quick. And I feel like the challenge of people just respecting me because I was young. And not only that, I was young and I was Black. So, you know, and when I was hired at the time, my mentor was a Black man and he kind of really immersed himself into the company and became important. And then, you know, whatever happened, he ended up leaving. It was just me. And at that point, I was like the only Black woman who was making what I was making. So I felt like I hit a lot of roadblocks within the company because of those challenges.
But how do you handle that pressure though?
Doing a good job. Making sure things are done and I'm making waves, especially for my clients. So like within the company, I really didn't care too much what people had to say or how people felt about me because my clients and the clients are who's important because they're paying the bills for everybody, right? As long as my clients were happy and I was making waves for them, that's what really pushed me to keep going. I didn't really care about the politics within the agency, but more so, are my clients looking at me like, wow, Keyshawna is a real asset to my team. Not the agency is an asset to my team, but Keyshawna is an asset to my team. So that's what really kept me going.
Okay. Now, you work with some huge DTC brands. Without giving away trade secrets or anything like that, I wanted to know, what's a campaign or project that still makes you proud?
That still makes me proud. I would say, all right, this was like kind of a quick one-off thing, but when the stimulus checks hit, the second wave of them hit, I did a big like stimmy sale campaign, and we called it like literally a stimmy sale. And that went kind of crazy. Like for one of my clients, that stimmy sale alone, it lasted for maybe like 3 to 4 days. She made like $500,000, literally.
Damn.
And this was something I thought of on a whim. Like the stimulus checks came out like on a Tuesday, I think. And the workday ended at 5 p.m. and we had a call with the client from 4 to 5. And in the call, it was like 4:30. I was like, the stimulus checks came out, like let's do a stimmy sale and call it a stimmy sale. Like the audience was young women. It was a hair care brand. So the audience were young women. I said, let's just try this. And she was like, okay, why not? That first campaign we sent it out that night, like 6 p.m. That first one made like $60K. And then she was like, hold on. She was like, this idea you just thought of just made that? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, let's run it some more days. And we ran it. Yeah, that went crazy. And that was something I didn't even like. It wasn't something planned, just a random, let's run it.
So Key, marketing can be both data heavy and creative. So which one of those two fuels you the most?
That's hard because I'm not going to lie. I do love both. I do love both, but the creative definitely outweighs it more for me a bit. But in school, I always liked math, too. I was always good at math, whether it was algebra, geometry. We're not going to talk about pre-calc. But the other maths, yes, I really enjoyed math. So I do enjoy both the creative and the analytical side. But I think the creative excites me just a little bit more. But I do use the data to back up my creativity. Because a lot of times, too, I feel like what sets me apart is I'm always willing to like push the needle a bit and do things that companies or brands aren't used to doing creatively. And when I get the pushback from them, that's when I bring the data into it. I'm always big on testing in marketing. So especially when I'm bringing up these new strategies creatively that they've never done and they're kind of iffy about, I'm like, well, let's A/B test it. Let's test what I'm proposing versus what you're used to. And let's see what outperforms what. Let's literally let the data pick the winner. And so that's why I said analytics are super important, and I do still hold them dear to my heart because they do a lot of times prove my creativity.
Amazing. You are literally like the modern True Jackson VP.
I agree. True Jackson VP. That is a throwback.
No, I'm just listening to you.
Throwback.
Like, successful young black woman doing her thing, being the odds of what it is. Like,
yeah,
go ahead, girl. Seriously.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Period.
Now, even more proud of you. I want to get to this. What inspired you to step away from agency life and to create Scale with Key?
Honestly, the politics. It was too many. The politics I felt like was getting in the way of the work, for sure. And yeah, I just wanted to be able to work with the brands that I like and love and not have to worry about the politics of an agency, really. You know, because in an agency, like I said, you do get a lot of experience because you work with a lot of different brands. And most of the times I did work with brands I liked. Beauty brands, health and wellness, apparel, things like that. But occasionally, I would get brands that aren't as fun, right? But you still have a job to do, you know? And I still did my job, but I didn't feel as motivated working on those type of brands. So when those brands came to me, I felt like it kind of stunted me a bit. Because I wasn't really interested in it, I didn't want to do it. Because I didn't want to do it, I didn't do my best work. And it wasn't even intentionally, but really just a motivational thing. I wasn't motivated. So I felt like more of those type of brands were coming in because at the end of the day, you know, an agency has to pay the bills. And if those brands are paying the bills, we're going to service them. But I didn't want to. So
Okay. So with that being said, like, can you explain to the audience, like, why you wanted to start Scale with Key and explain to them exactly what it is?
Sure. So I started Scale with Key because I felt like there was a need in the D2C space for better marketing help. You know, nowadays founders, they feel like marketing is solely just posting on social media, like posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok. That's their marketing strategy. When really there's a lot more that goes into it outside of those two platforms that is often overlooked for a number of reasons. You know, they just don't know about it, or they may feel like it's out of their budget, or, you know, they just want to stick to social media. But I felt that need was important to, one, broadcast to people, because I know a lot of people, a lot of founders, a lot of business owners who their businesses could greatly benefit from this type of service. So yeah, and it's my passion. It's something I've been doing for hundreds of other brands, you know, before this. So why not do it for brands that I directly want to work with, and then can have kind of like a white glove experience working directly with me.
So how would you describe the type of founder or business that's ready to work with you?
Yeah. So the type of founder or business that's ready to work with Scale with Key has already experienced some sort of success within their business, right? They have a steady income monthly from their business and they're looking to scale. Steady income can look like anywhere from maybe $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month, but they know that there's more, right? They just don't know how to really get there because their marketing isn't where it needs to be. So that's where I would step in and show them the retention aspect of it, because a lot of times companies dump millions or even hundreds of thousands of dollars into acquisition. So that's Meta ads, Google ads, and all of their customers are leaking through the bottom of the tunnel because, you know, they have no strategy to really retain them. So that's where I would come into place with retention, because it's a lot cheaper to have a returning customer make a second purchase versus making someone who's never heard of your company make a first purchase, right? So I kind of show them how marketing can be an affordable strategy, and they can make sure their ad dollars aren't put to waste on just Facebook.
And what's one misconception small brands have about scaling?
A misconception that small brands have about scaling is that it's expensive. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, because like I said, brands oftentimes put thousands of dollars into Meta ads, into Google ads, into search, thinking, you know, I have to pay all this money for people to know who I am or for people to find me. I'm not saying it's not important. Acquisition is important. You need a good acquisition strategy in order for your retention to work. But at the same time, you still need retention. And I feel like people or brands definitely skip over the part of retaining customers, because that's important. You want people to always come back, especially for a D2C brand, right? E-com, you're usually selling products that people are going to repurchase at some point. So you want them to come back. And it's cheaper for them to come back too.
Now, if you can give one piece of advice to any business owners, what would it be?
If I can give one piece of advice to business owners is, that's a great question. All right. If I could give one piece of advice to business owners is give it a try. You know, don't stick to the norm. Don't stick to the everyday. Try everything. And what I mean by that is try any and everything you can to grow your business. Even the ideas you have in the shower, the ideas you have while you're driving, give it a try, because you never know what can really work for you and your business. You know, I feel like a lot of times brands or business owners look at the overnight successes and they're like, oh, I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to wake up and have 10,000 orders tomorrow. But the reality of that happening is, you know, it's a small chance. But just because that's a small chance of happening doesn't mean that you can't eventually build up to the 10,000 orders a day, 20,000 orders a day, right? You really just have to have a strong strategy behind it. Really, that's it. That's all.
And now, has Scale with Key already launched?
Scale with Key is already launched, yes.
Are you excited about that?
I am excited. I'm excited to help founders directly, you know, work with them. I've done it for so long for other people. I'm excited to do it for myself and really just, you know, help brands build and also make great relationships.
Now that your birthday is coming up next week, you'll be 28. All right, well, first, how do you feel? Do you feel old?
I do.
You know?
I do. Oh my goodness. Like I feel like I have accomplished a lot in my life, you know, but I also kind of feel like I'm behind, if that makes sense. I mean,
listen, I feel like we all have those moments of feeling behind. I feel behind every day about a lot of things I should be doing. But I don't know if it's us feeling like we're behind. I just feel like this is the time that we're supposed to be at right now, if that makes sense to you. Because I feel like we look at people like, oh, I should be married by now. Oh, I should be having kids or purchasing my first home and stuff like that. But really, at the reality, it's like, those are unrealistic stuff that we see on TV and what people do. Because we all have our own journeys in life. So I don't think you should really feel behind because you are doing a lot more than most people are doing. So don't worry about that.
Thank you.
But like I was saying, though, since you are turning 28, is there any advice you want to give to your 12-year-old self?
That's sweet. That's sweet. Advice I want to give to my 12-year-old self. Keep going. Yeah, just keep going. Tunnel vision. No, that's really the advice to my 12-year-old self. Tunnel vision. Because I feel like, you know, at that age, 12 years old, that's when a lot of opinions start flowing around you, you know? And I would tell my 12-year-old self, yeah, tunnel vision. Focus on what it is you want to do, the things you want to accomplish, and for lack of better words, fuck everybody else.
That part.
Yeah.
But throughout those years, how do you think we've both grew?
How we both grew?
Since those middle school days.
Honestly, I would say we're both just doing what we love unapologetically and being ourselves unapologetically too, for sure. Because at that age, I feel like we were both kind of like people pleasers a bit, like, you know, trying to please people. And I feel like now the two of us, we're living for ourselves. You know, we're doing the things we want to do and we're putting ourselves first. And seeing your journey, Ivory, honestly, I'm so proud of you. You know, I really am. Like, just seeing you really put yourself first holistically and, you know, living unapologetically. I love that for you. I do.
I just think that, like, with that, and that's what I realized about getting older. Because that's I always do look at you and a few other people in my life as just, like, you guys move to the beat of your own drum. And before I used to say to myself, like, why can't I do that? But really, I've always had it in me. But again, it's like the perceptions or the noise of other people really just kind of like silently me down a little bit too much. You know what I mean? And I think that's how it kind of stunted my growth in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to say to you is like, don't ever feel like you're behind because there was times where I felt like I could have lived my life more at 21 or 24 or 25 and stuff like that. But really, it's just about the journey.
Right.
And I think that when I look at your growth, it really like, I'm not really surprised of how you grew because I've always known that you will be successful in your own way. And I've always known that you make things happen. But again, what I do like about you is that you really are the type of woman, yes, grown Black woman, that really you make a lot things happen. And I think that a lot of people I see or my peers or something like that, they don't replicate the things that you do because you do a lot, you handle a lot and juggle a lot. But you make it look so effortlessly, you know?
Thank you. I try, for sure.
But you're doing a good damn job, girl. Stop playing.
Thank you. I'm tired.
You are tired.
I'm tired. Oh, my goodness.
All right. I got my last question for you, okay? In your eyes, what's the biggest lesson getting older has taught you?
The biggest lesson getting older? That's a good question. I have to think about that. Honestly, the biggest lesson getting older has taught me, it's going to sound cliche, but to put me first. And that was really hard for me throughout my whole, even to this day, it's still kind of hard for me because, like we spoke about earlier, I love deeply. And sometimes the people you love or the people you surround yourself with I'm not going to say they don't want the best for you, but their opinions are always in your ear. Right. Yeah. And for me, I take the opinions of the people I love very seriously. You know, I will sometimes ask them things before I make decisions. And then a lot of times people will put their own insecurities onto you, their own fears onto you. Right. They'll project it onto you. And I had to learn, really, I can't let that happen. I have to put me first. If something in my heart and something in my mind is telling me to do something, I have to do it, regardless of how so-and-so may feel, regardless of who may feel hurt. I'm never going to make a decision to betray somebody, right? So that's not what it is. And I know that my intention is never to hurt anybody, but my intention is to make sure that I'm good. And I have to put myself first or else I'll never be happy, literally. I'll never be happy because I'll always be living for other people, living, because or doing things because other people deem is right is no life to live. You have to do what's right for you. And you can't ask anybody to live your life. You have to just do it. So,
but that's how you learn from like trial and error. And I realized that more, I think more about like a year ago. Stop asking for permission.
Right.
Because even though like sometimes you do want to run a good idea with a few people, say, hey, like this is what I have going on. This is what I want to do. And not to say like their opinions don't matter, because of course you want to hear the truth and stuff like that. I do think that sometimes you have to see whether it works for you or not. Because again, we're going to rise and fall no matter what we do and stuff like that. And I've learned that, and there's been moments where I've risen, and there's things like, well, damn, this actually worked out. And then there's times where I have fall, but at the same time, I'm not going to stay down, and it is a lesson. So I feel like with that, that's my like best advice for everybody too as well, is like, we have to stop caring about what people think about us. And again, I'm still learning that. I don't want to sound like the pot calling the black, because there's times where I still do, but at the same time, it's like, at the end of the day, who's living our life for us?
Facts. Because literally, I feel like some of the best decisions I've made in my life, some people who I love tried to deter me from doing it. Like when I wanted to move to Miami, I had people tell me, Miami, why would you want to move so far? Like, or it's so expensive. Like, you're not going to be able to afford that. Like, I just had a lot of insecurities projected onto me. And the same thing with when I started Scale with Key, you have a good job. Why would you want to leave that? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to get clients? It's just other people's fears. If you allow other people's fears to dictate your decisions, like I said, you will never be happy in this life.
Nope.
You have to jump out on the whim. And like you said, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It was a lesson. At least I tried. Because
most people aren't trying. And that's the thing, too, is like I always say to myself, I can't stay complacent. That's why I always say, like, you got to chase your dreams. Again, I love podcasting. I'm not looking here to be like the biggest podcaster in the world, but this is something where it makes me feel so good about myself, and also to understand people like you and your stories and how I can apply it in my real life and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that what you're doing is a great job. Don't change. Be you. And I have to also say again, to give you your flowers again, that I am so thankful, and I was saying about this at Brittany's Brittany's principal thing. Oh, shout out to my sister; she's a principal.
Go, Britt.
You know what I'm saying? But I want to say this thing, like looking at you and taking the many pictures of you, and stuff like that. I just love seeing you grow, and I think that is so good to like have you back over here again, because again we had some years where we missed. Because again, I was in LA doing my thing, then you was in Miami doing your thing, and just to see that the woman that you are, and like I'm gonna keep like just praising that. I'm just really proud of you, and I hope that you continue to be who you are. I have to stress that enough because I feel like I get so nervous with the people around me. It's like we have to change and do certain things because of what society tells us and stuff like that, whatever. Right. But be the person that you've been born to be, and I want you to keep like holding on to that, because I'm telling myself that because I know who I am, and I'm learning. Of course, who I am still, but I'm going to hold on to my dreams and who I want to be.
As you should. Too. Thank you, Ivory. As you should. I'm so proud of you as well. I appreciate you. You always give me my flowers, and I feel like I give you your flowers too.
You do, because it's a reciprocating friendship, but also just like it's a lot of love that runs deep for 16 years, girl. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Damn.
I know.
16 years is crazy. Ivory, you getting old too, so you keep bringing up me getting old. You getting old too.
I am like my daddy. The thing is, I am happy. I would say this like side note though. Like, I saw my barber because I was losing hair for a little bit. Remember I used to dye my hair like the rainbow, like a Skittles.
Yes.
And I remember like I would lost some hair for a while. I remember the guy.
It.
I stopped now for 3 years now, but now the guy was like, "You can get your hair back." I said, I am my hair back now. Stop playing. We getting younger. We reversing time. But Key, can you please tell the people where they can find you at and all socials and websites? Please tell this camera right here.
Sure. So if you want to check me out, my website is my name, KeyshawnaJ.com. That's KeyShawnaj.com. Or you can find me on Instagram at Scale with Key.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Getting On the Podcast with Key. If you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Anything that we said, please let us know what your favorite part was. Also, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and much more. So please, thank you guys again for supporting me, and of course support Key with what she has going on. And my message for the end of this episode is please be kind to each other and also to yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because times is getting hard, and we're also entering into seasonal depression in fall. And I just want you guys to take care of yourself, okay? So yeah, that's another episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.